you can talk a little bit about the session today, why it's important, and who's going to be the key presenter today. Frank?
Thank you. We have made a practice of recording important critical policy studies topics. And today we are pleased to have a group, Christoph Scherer, Anna Garcia, and Joscha Webmüller, talk about political economy. This was initiated because they edited a handbook for the, actually my handbook series on public policy, research on public policy with Elgar. But this is a topic that fits into the advancing critical policy studies series as well. So let me just briefly introduce the participants, the presenters. First, Christoph Scherer, who is a very old friend and colleague from Kassel and Rutgers, who is a full professor emeritus of globalization and politics and a non-resident senior fellow of the Kassel Institute of Sustainability in Germany. He was the executive director of the International Center for Development and Decent Work at the university and founder of the Global Labor University, which actually I taught in for any number of times, which was a great experience. His major research area of research are the social dimensions of environmental governance, political economy, and actually more. Anna Garcia is professor at the Institute of International Relations in Rio. She's a professor at the postgraduate program in the social sciences at the Federal Rural University in Rio de Janeiro and coordinator of the Interdisciplinary Laboratory of International Relations Studies. Her publications have focused on international political economy, critical theory, Gramsci imperialism, national corporations, multinational corporations, and South-South relations. And our third participant and co-editor of the book, this is the book here. Can you see this? No?
Yes, Frank.
I'm
yes,
holding
yes.
the book.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the book. Joscha Webweber is the director of the International Center for Sustainable and Just Transformation at the University of Witten-Herdecke and the Heisenberg Professorship for Politics, Transformation, and Sustainability. His work deals with national, international, and transnational political, economic, and political ecological governance processes and structures. He also focuses on the European, American, and global financial system, as well as political economy and governance of sustainable transformation. Wow. Impressive credentials, all. I turn it over first to Christoph.
Well, we have decided that perhaps we will start with the interesting question, why one does political economy. And Joscha is so kind as to present this part, and Anna will follow with an issue of why critical political economy. And at the end, I will briefly introduce the book.
Okay, so I already shared my screen. Thank you so much for the invitation. And it's nice to be here with you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, very nice. So this is the book, our book cover, and we thought that we'll do 3 little introductions or presentations. And because the book is called Critical Political Economy and Public Policy, we thought we have a first part on why political economy and public policy. second part on why critical political economy, and third part then on a bit on the content of the book. So the next 5 minutes or so, wait. Oh, it's working. Okay. Unfortunately, as always, when I'm presenting, I only can see half of my own presentation. So, well, I'll manage that. So, reason being, what we're looking at is public policy. Yeah, and that's mostly state politics for sure. And our approach is to say that in order to understand state policies, yeah, it is, or most of state policies are actually connected, if not all of these policies, to economics and to civil society. Yeah. In order to understand policies, we have to include the other parts of the overall society. Yeah. If you look at Weingart and Wittmann, yeah, they define political economy as the methodology of economics applied to the analysis of political behavior and institutions. So it's economics applied to politics. This is not what we're doing. Yeah. Another approach is, and now I can't read it. Wait a second. Yeah, is more from public policy. The idea of political economy being how individual preferences shape institutions as well as policies and policies, and how individuals interact with political rules and institutions. So it's a lot about, well, single agents, individuals, maybe some groups, some institutions acting on each other, but, well, missing actually the political economy part. So that's also not what we're doing. What we actually do is we bring these three realms together, yeah, in saying that we cannot understand policies, state policies. Actually, we cannot understand economy, and we cannot understand civil society if we do not interrelate all these three different realms of society. Yeah, and saying this, it's quite obvious, and maybe let me try if I can do that with a point of view. It's quite obvious that they are not only interrelated, but that the borderlines between them are completely blurred. So at one point, we are not sure anymore, well, is it state policies, or are we actually in this in the economy or in finance or civil society? Yeah? I mean, in my research on central banks, it's quite obvious that state and economy and civil society is closely interrelated. Otherwise, we cannot understand all the contradictions of the central bank politics. Yeah? So the other part is to say that in each of these realms, we find different struggles. And of course, we find struggles that cross all these different realms. Yeah. So we find specific dynamics in the field. And we can only understand these dynamics if we interrelate these different realms. Yeah. I mean, for finance, for economy, it's mostly risk return. It's about expectations, but of course, politics is a lot of expectations as well. It's all related to trust, and it is a hierarchical field. So despite of all this talk about governments and plain science or plain processes, it is a highly hierarchical structured field, which has very specific logics. And we try to understand the logic, and we say, if we don't rely our research to these logics, we cannot understand the complexity of the overall field. So saying this, we tried kind of to mirror the very different theories and approaches within the field of political economy or the international political economy. And each of these theories actually based in a certain ontology, epistemology, methodology, idea of agent structure, and notion of power. And this is why we have so many chapters in our handbook trying really to bring in many of these approaches. Yeah, and the three main approaches we could say they are all kind of based on or partly based on, or well, have their counter theories is economic Marxism, economic nationalism, and economic liberalism. So one also could say is that the very idea of the book is, and here I quote O'Brien and Williams, is that facts do not exist independently of explanatory frameworks. Facts are pieces of information that are thought to correspond to reality and be true, but the way in which they are perceived and judged is influenced by theory. Yeah? So the theoretical embeddedness of empirical research, and therefore we always try to kind of have a theoretical part and an application of this part. And so the overall ontological idea is actually that our entire research is, of course, strongly influenced by our own ontology, and the objectivity we are providing is always a specific objectivity, or to quote Gramsci here, there exists a struggle for objectivity. And with that, I would stop and hand over to Anna.